I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Okay. I felt it was mandatory that I put that clip in there before we get started. We're going to be silly today because I don't actually have a non-silly way of describing what you're about to see. I took Juggernaut to rank 4 for memes. And he makes a meme out of almost every single Battlegrounds defender in the game. Any champion that has the nerve to call themselves defensively challenging is probably in this video unless they apply non-damaging debuffs. Even if they apply non-damaging debuffs, in some cases in this video. We have what I think is the largest Battlegrounds showcase on a single champion on the internet. We have 27 fights in here, right? And Juggernaut is going to decimate every single one of them. And you have no idea the issues I encountered trying to manipulate matches such that I got the fights that I wanted. I'll get into that later. But we're going to be silly today, and we're going to kick things off here as soon as I hit play with a future Ant-Man. Now, I am including a few 6-stars in this, just a few, because he isn't a 7-star now, but he will be. He will be in the Heart of Fire. Now, what I wanted there, as I got smacked, was to go for an intercept, and my Unstoppables fell off. I'm going to get the rubbish fights out of the way first, right? So if you want to skip ahead to any particular fight, I'll leave timestamps in the description for particular champions if you want to see them get embarrassed. But I'm going to get the bad ones out of the way, and then we're going to get to the really funny ones. Because here, this is a 6-star champion, and yet it's sketchy, right? He went red. We had the help of the Relic. Talking of the Relic, this is all filmed in the Victory Track meta, the off-season meta that we're in right now, and it is highly beneficial Juggernaut to any Mystics. In fact, whenever you throw a Striker, you gain a bar of power. So that is fueling these results, and that's a disclaimer throughout. I will put out disclaimers to any particular fight if I feel necessary, but it's not like Juggernaut can't do these matches, and it's not like he isn't the single best champion for an awful lot of them. Up next is an Absorbing Man. I never said that this video was going to be fair. I just said it was big. And 53,300 points. That's not the only one in this video. In fact, that's one of several fights in this video that are over 53,000 points. Very few champions have matchups that can be over 53,000 points, and yet for Juggernaut, it's basically routine. This Nova fight, I included early because I cocked up. Nova is not a perfect matchup for Juggernaut because you go unblockable and then he reduces your damage, which is annoying. You see there, I'm shredding my Unstoppables by spamming block, and that means I'm not going to go into my Unstoppable mode, and there I got a bit overzealous with it, and I held it too long, and that meant I got smacked. Unfortunately, he crit me as well, which is annoying, but we chuck off the SP2, and he's going to die, and even though I cocked around and got smacked by a 7-star rank 3 Nova, who hits very hard, still over 50,000 points. That's a low score. In fact, that is one of the, I believe, top 3 lowest scores you're going to see today. This is the lowest score you're going to see today. This is a thing. I put this one in because I didn't really know what to do with the footage once I'd collected it. It is a fight that he can do, kind of. Not really. He's not built to do thing. A lot of things kit is supposed to stop Juggernaut, including his rock stacks, his protection, the nullify immunity, the class disadvantage. Just everything about it is not meant to happen. And yet, if you have a 7-star rank 4 Juggernaut, I can see my mediums are hitting damage cap, which is quite funny. I would have bet you my lights would as well. But anyway, he is going to do this fight. And Juggernaut, while he isn't good at bypassing anything Thing has to offer, so he isn't a great option, he is very safe, because you're constantly unstoppable. So there, I can just bait the block and push him to 15 charges, and now I'm baiting out an SP2. All perfectly safe. Right, I'm not going to have any issue in this fight whatsoever of managing his rock stacks. It's just the protection comes up every now and then, and that's frustrating. But now he's at 15 charges, going to bait out another special attack, and I believe I trigger protection one more time. Do I? Yeah, there it is, with the SP1. Okay, that was going to happen. But we fire off a couple more hits through the protection and he goes down. So that's a 48.5k against a champion that is just designed to do everything to stop Juggernaut apart from place a non-damaging debuff. And talking of non-damaging debuffs, we have a Dust up next. Right, This fight and another fight I'm going to show in this meta, which is a null fight, you're not supposed to take those with Juggernaut. This is a disclaimer. The success of this fight depends on the node. You can steal a lot of power, you can see there, and my progress towards an SP2 is a lot easier. You can see, like, I would have had a lot harder of a time getting to my SP2 without her placing sand on me without the node. So while this is very impressive, it's made competitive by this victory track node, which definitely helps Juggernaut. I feel the need to put that disclaimer in there. Same thing goes for a null fight later on, where we reach his SP3 very, very quickly and we apply our super gem. That's not going to be possible in an ordinary meta, but here we nail the stand-up intercept against Dust. She can take away my gem all she likes, but I'm going to throw off a medium into an SP2 and she's going to go down. So that was actually still over 50,000 points, 50,300 points, and yeah, like I said, Juggernaut is one of those characters who, taking fights in over 53,000 points is regular for. I mean, I'm not going to see it right now, but believe me, we are going to get into it. This is the null fight that I'm talking about. You can see Living Abyss just takes away my gem of sidetrack. Very, very frustrating. My opponent here is running suicides. It's not going to do anything. With cooperative AI, as long as null is aggressive, throws his specials, keeps the tempo of the fight going while you have your super gem active and you don't lose it, it doesn't make a difference whether or not he's running suicides. Yeah, he lost some health, but he's going to die anyway. We chuck off the SP3, nail the perfect damage bonus. This is going to push him to an SP2, which he throws basically immediately, and now we can get cracking. So yeah, even though he applied 10 armor breaks to me, now not knocking me down, not applying a non-damaging debuff, nothing is going to get rid of my gem of sidetrack. This is the same trick you can use to take Terrax with Juggernaut, or maybe a fight like a Vision Arcus if your Juggernaut is not awakened. And my opponent quit, which is quite funny, probably because he got beaten by a Juggernaut against Null, which is hilarious. But anyway, let's move it on to one of the most meta-relevant defenders in the entire game, Onslaught. Yes, the champion that every single free-to-play player just wet themselves over because they get him for free in this Red Bull Give Us Your Soul event. And yeah, any champion that claims to be defensively difficult, I said before, is going to make it look like a joke, and we're going to make Onslaught look like a joke. Chucking off the SP2, it's important that we never gain 10 combo, otherwise he's going to place a crush debuff on us. But we're immune to reverse controls, we chuck off the SP1, and Onslaught goes down in less than 30 seconds. What was that? 28 seconds, 51,800 points. Joke. Not even registering as a defender, as a threat to Juggernaut. Next up is Arcade, and you're going to spot a pattern pretty quickly in this video where just you do a few hits, throw a heavy, that lands a stagger, which is going to deal with the power gain the opponent gets, and then you chuck off a relic, that boosts you up to an SP2, get maximum momentum, chuck off the SP2, another combo, win the game if the SP2 itself doesn't kill the opponent. Here, I knew that if I baited a heavy from Arcade, he would stun me in the corner, so I just baited out the SP1, chuck off the SP1 myself, that does 80,000 damage with the Fury, which is just gratuitous, and that's a rank 3 Arcade in just under 53,000 points, 24 seconds. That should be illegal. Why don't we chuck in a Sasquatch? You know, why not? Biggest health pool in the entire game at the 7-star rank 3 level. We do have 7-star rank 4s in this video. We have quite an important one, in fact, but we'll get to that later. And yeah, Sasquatch, here he parries me and then blocks me, and the tempo of the fight is ruined. Very, very annoying because Harry's Sasquatch is the scum of the earth. And you can see there, he didn't go for the intercept. I'm not going to get maximum momentum for this first SP2, and he's just not playing into me. And, you know, getting that Fury is really important against the fattest boy in the entire game. Again, he's still blocking me, and yet we are going to finish this fight with more than 51,000 points, right? And this has gone wrong. You know, just to be completely clear, that went badly. Yeah, 51,300 points. There are very few champions in the game that can do that. In fact, I'm fairly sure you can count them on one hand. I think they are Luke Cage, Spider-Ham, Photon, Silk, maybe other science champions if you play very well. And yet Juggernaut does it while it all goes tits up, because that's his job. Next up is Atuma. I have no way of dealing non-contact attacks, so I have no way of dealing with Thorns, except the damage reduction from the Gem of Sidetrack, and yet Atuma Well, I say this isn't a tumor. That wasn't a tumor. 51,500 points done in 19 seconds. Oopsies. Sorry. This is future Matty. I forgot to put this one in while I was recording this. Somehow Korg slipped through my fingers while I was uploading everything to my computer. But we have a Korg here, and it's going to be done in over 51,000 points. I do have some advice if you want to dominate Korg with Juggernaut, and that is just to be patient, right? You're not going to kill him before your rock stacks come back. If you try and kill him before his rock stacks come back, you're going to get over aggressive, you're going to get impatient. You can see here, he nearly goes red, and he will go red if you try and kill him too quickly, unless you get some sort of ungodly crit RNG. But yeah, we safely deal with the second round of rock stacks, and now I'm going to throw off a full 5-hit combo into an SP2, and that is going to end things. As you can see, 51,000 points. I'll get out of the way. 19. Yeah, 19. Anyway, up next is Enchantress, a champion who has found her way into the hearts of every single player in the game, not because they like her, but because they hate her. She got in there for all the wrong reasons. She is exceptionally annoying. I swear she's become more annoying since she was released. She's really grown into her place as a defender, but she doesn't even register as a defender to Juggernaut because, again, Enchantress past tense. That was an Enchantress. 52,900 points. I've had that go over 53k. It just depends how quickly you deal with her initial round of spells, and then you never need to deal with them again. This Bishop, I again have no utility to counter Bishop whatsoever. I just have raw damage. I have no way of dealing with prowess. I have no way of dealing with feedback. I have no way of dealing with unblockable specials or incinerate. I just have power. And that's all I'm going to need. Hammer off a full combo here, enter maximum momentum, chuck off the SP2. Only one hit crits, not the important bits. We haven't seen a fight where it all crits yet. 53,200 points. That's 53k, count 2. We've had 2 so far, right, that are over 53,000 points. And again, I don't have any utility here. I'm just smacking the opponent. Next up, Maestro. Not awakened, doesn't matter. We're going to head in here, and yes, he has an enormous health pool, and yes, you do need to be careful about his glancing. You want to make sure you get the stagger active just there, but Juggernaut's going to prevent Maestro from gaining Neutronium too quickly by virtue of being a Mystic champion, and, you know, like that even matters, because I'm going to chuck this off. The second hit deals 90k, beta heavy, throw a few combos, and my mediums are critting for nearly 40k. That was a Maestro in 53,200 points. Yeah, 53k, count 3, alright? Right, next up is Arnim Zola. Now, in the Gladiator Circuit meta this season, we have Stunning Reflection. So champions like Photon or Superior Iron Man, who can parry non-contact, not going to work. Champions like Deathless Thanos or America Chavez, who stun on their heavy attack charge, not going to work. Juggernaut is the best counter to Arnim Zola in this season's Gladiator Circuit meta, and we're actually going to see him in Victory Track just embarrass this Nazi robot. So yeah, here he's gaining power. It's not going to matter. We chuck off the SP2, and yeah, he can place his cowardice on me, but with the Fury and maximum momentum, I'm still dealing respectable damage, even though we've grown accustomed to that cowardice basically being all-powerful, and then just Juggernaut's basic combos being so enormous. We actually lost that one, although my opponent was on drugs, right? He did like 51k against my Serpent with an unawakened Count Nefaria. I actually reported him, but yeah, my opponent was on drugs that time. This is a 7-star rank 4 version of Deathless Thanos. Yeah, Deathless Thanos. Don't talk to me about Juggernaut not having utility, because we are going to embarrass this man. We are going to use our enormous basic combo hits to deal with his first protection phase, and then we're going to use the SP2 to deal with his second, and then more combo, and the damage of the combos and the special attacks. It's 86k, I just burst out laughing. The combination of the basic attacks and the special attacks will deal with each section of protection. You can see there just a few hits, and he's immediately down to 25%, just dealing with an unstoppable counter. You need to make sure he never goes unstoppable, otherwise he will place a panic debuff on you. You can see there, I'm being quite careful. We're about to hammer back in here with a combo into the SP2. That's a 7-star rank 4 version of Deathless Thanos in just under 51,000 points. I'd like to see Longshot do that. Alright, it's less than 50 seconds. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Deathless Thanos is supposed to be the best character in the game. Right? Offensively, he's ridiculous. Defensively, he's ridiculous. Not in the eyes of Juggernaut. He doesn't even come close to Juggernaut offensively, and defensively, he is nothing. Up next, we have a Weapon X, a champion notorious for healing just an obscene amount, and that's not going to matter to Juggernaut. Yes, he will survive maybe a little bit longer than most champions do, and you can see here I'm chucking off combos, and somehow that SP1 doesn't kill. I think because I lost my Fury. But then we're just going to chuck off another relic, gain some more power, and yeah, you can heal all you want. He's dead. Okay, and yes, the node helped there, but we still would have been able to kill in over 51,000 points just by how hard Juggernaut is hitting. He is out-punching Weapon X's healing, which is ridiculous. Actually, hang on, I'm going to pause it here. There is a bit of a story to this fight. Right, and actually, I'm going to show you the screenshot of the champion placement screen and an audio that I sent to an alliance mate of mine.
What the hell? What the hell is wrong with people? I can't... I can't fathom what went through this guy's brain. Like, he doesn't know that I want Sentinel, so it's not like he's going against me deliberately. This guy, I did everything right. I used Hulkling against Hulkling in round 1, knowing it wouldn't be as good as Luke Cage, so that he would have no excuse but to play Sentinel. That was my only obvious answer to Sentinel. I had no other Cosmics. And he still put Thing on defense in round 2. I made sure I lost that round. I probably wouldn't have won anyway. He had Chavez versus Maestro. Oh, sorry, Kushala versus... No, he had Kushala versus Venom. Shit, it was even worse. It would have been close, but I still would have lost because I made sure I took an SP3 to the face. And then for round 3, it was Sentinel. Look at the screenshot. It had to be Sentinel. And yet this fucking idiot places Negasonic Teenage Midhead. And I can't deal with these people. I cannot deal with these people. Like, what do you expect to happen? Like, do you think that's saving you from anything? There is nothing about Nega damage that Sentinel will not do better on defense. I don't get it. 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 No, this is awful. No.
So, apologies to Killer M. I went a bit far. But seriously, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, you can tell I was a bit frustrated that I had to fight a Negasonic Teenage Midhead instead of Sentinel, which was the fight I actually wanted to record. And this is what happens when you disobey me. Okay? We chuck off a full combo into the SP2. 2 hits crit and she dies immediately. What's that? 53,100 points. Bit slower because we had to beat the heavy. I don't know. What are we on now? 5? Are we on 5? 53k? I think we are. But eventually I did get a Sentinel. Eventually I did. Which made me very happy. I could put another up-and-coming defender on the list. I recently took Sentinel to rank 3 myself. He's been doing mad work. So yeah, Sentinel, definitely a character you want to look out for. He's Armor Break and Armor Shatter immune. So champions like Medusa, Deathless Thanos, Null, they get slowed down an awful lot or just straight up stopped by Sentinel. And here I'm going to push him red, and his awakened ability is actually going to come into play. Those armor ups are enormous. Here I throw a full combo into an SP1 and somehow it doesn't kill. Another SP1 also does not kill. He goes red, but we do get it down over 51,000 points despite it being a bit sketchy. Up next is a Red Skull, another champion, very heavily armoured champion for Juggernaut to punch through. And remember, even if my Juggernaut was awakened here, Red Skull is Nullify, Fate Seal, Stagger immune, so it's not going to matter. We're just going to have to punch through this guy and deal as also with his power gain, right? I can't stagger him like I can with the other opponents, but yeah, we chuck off the SP2, he's already half dead. And here, I think I am going to have to bait out an SP2, I am. And what do I do after this? I actually don't know what I do after this. What do I do? Yeah, I think we just wait it out. Sometimes, with Juggernaut, it is important to remember that there are limits. There aren't very many limits, and those limits are quite difficult to surpass, but you can't just go balls to the wall all the time. Sometimes your opponent is going to survive longer than you want them to, and I learned through my mistakes of doing many matchups with Juggernaut in Battlegrounds trying to record this video, that sometimes being patient is better. You don't want your opponent going red on you when you try and rush to the finish line. That was over 50,000 points, but if I'd been impatient and pushed him red, we wouldn't have put out a very good score at all. Up next is a Mr. Sinister. Now, this Sinister is unawakened. That was the only one that I got a matchup for. Bear in mind, guys, that it took an awful lot of time recording this video because people just kept banning him, right? If you've played Matty Boy DeBoss 01 in off-season Battlegrounds over the past few days and he's just quit out on you, I'm very sorry. It's because you either banned my Juggernaut or he didn't draft the Juggernaut. I'm using different pronouns. It doesn't matter. Right, so I'm sorry, but this is the only Sinister matchup I have. He throws another SB1, which does place a degen on me, but it's really not going to matter. It's better than him throwing the SB2, which is what you need to avoid because that places a concussion debuff on you, which is going to screw you over. Up next is an Ebony Maw, and I would say that this match is just about perfect. I don't think you can get any better than this. We land the light attack intercept into the heavy attack. It doesn't deal any damage. And now we do a full combo into the relic. The power steal is less potent against Ebony Maw, but we still throw a full 5-hit combo. And while it doesn't crit, the next combo does kill him. And that's 53,400 points. I believe that's number 6 now. So we're up to this. 6 53k plus matchups. Up next is a America Chavez. This isn't going to be fair. I'm just going to say it's not going to be fair. She's a defender, kind of. She has defensive potential, I suppose, so I put her in. At this point, I was just gunning for as many matchups as I could get in here, just so we can make this as large a showcase as possible. Again, none of the SP2 crit, right? I haven't even got to the most impressive matchup yet. 53,000 points, that's number 7. America Chavez down in 20 seconds. Up next, actually interestingly enough, is a champion who I've seen placed on defense more and more recently, and it's Gentle. Now, Gentle, as I've said before in my videos, is a disgrace to humanity. So, I don't fully get this. I understand that if you inflict 2 critical hits in quick succession, he gains a resistance passive, and that prevents incoming hits from being critical, and every 15 hits he goes unstoppable. But, you know, if you're playing with Juggernaut, your ability to take Gentle relies solely on your ability to count to 15. And actually, Gentle is nothing more than a stall for most champions, right? Unless you're a skill champion who relies on a lot of critical hits. You're just going to be able to kill him anyway. Just be patient. He's going to kill himself, mainly by the recoil that I'm always so angry about. But anyway, up next is a Shocker. Yeah, a champion that can be really irritating. He can gain control of the fight through his passive Limber and his enormous attack. But if you're Juggernaut, that doesn't matter. Another 53k matchup. That's, I believe, number 8. Up next, another champion who is still a 6-star at the moment, but will be a 7-star in the Heart of Fire. So I thought I would include him, and that champion is Nick Fury. Now, this fight was just no good. This fight was not any good. This could have been a lot better. You can get a better score, honestly, with a rank 3 Juggernaut, or even a rank 2 Juggernaut if the AI plays into you. That didn't happen in this case. It was just a bit sketchy. And yeah, here, hammering in, baiting out a heavy attack, and he does go for it. And then here, I don't know, I threw the SB1 through the block. That was daft. But yeah, we're going to shock off the SB2 here. And somehow it doesn't kill. Then he throws off an SB2. And this fight is just going on way longer than it needs to. And yeah, Nick Fury goes down. It's still over 51,000 points. There are still very few champions in the game that can do that, even with Nick Fury as a 6-star. And Juggernaut will still be able to do that with Nick Fury as a 7-star. So definitely worth including him in this video. Up next is a Shuri. Rank 3 Shuri, you know, she can be difficult with her non-contact attacks, with her invisibility. She's very tanky with her armor ups, so thought good to include her, but no, we enter maximum momentum. The SP2, the second hit crits, the third one doesn't, and she does stay alive momentarily, but then 53,200 points. I think that's number 8. Now for 53k, number 8. Up next is a Havoc fight. And yeah, you're not supposed to do this unless you're very confident that you're going to get lucky, because if you get bad crit RNG, and by bad I mean good, then Havoc is going to build up his plasma debuffs on you, and we don't want that because then you lose your gem. In this fight, I was unlucky enough to not trigger too many of Havoc's plasma debuffs, and he is going to go down just then. So that was 52,600 points. Not quite, I believe it's the 9th 53k we're after, but we will get onto that. Up next is a Domino, and the usual Domino disclaimer applies here. He's not a Domino counter, he's just not. He's safer than your average champ because of his Unstoppable, but an awful lot can go wrong here, and a lot goes wrong in this fight, and more can go wrong in a fight with worse luck, right? He is not a Domino counter. I do not recommend you take him against Domino. I'm not saying he's good for Domino. I'm just saying in a pinch, he can be used to deal significant damage to Domino while maintaining a relatively high health. Okay, I believe this matchup will be just under 50,000 points, and that's respectable for a non-tech character, a champion who's not designed to take this fight. You can see she's failing all sorts of shit, she's evading me, she's pulling all this bollocks out of her ass like she normally does, but we chuck off the SP2, and that is going to be it. My opponent quits, right? Again, probably because they've been beaten by a Juggernaut taking a fight he's not supposed to. But I think we will see in the post-match screen 49,800 points. Now, I have saved the best till last, because I spent basically the entire of the day looking for certain matchups, and one of them was a Prowler. And what you're about to see is probably the single best Battlegrounds match you will ever see. You ready? I'm just gonna shut up. I'm sitting here, watching like you should be. 53,740 points. If you adjust for the 3 seconds it takes to load into the match, that comes out at 53,992 points. Now I'm going to allow myself one unbeeped F-bomb in a video. That is fucking deranged. I challenge you. I want to know, genuinely, has anybody in their experience of playing Battlegrounds ever had a score that high against an opponent of comparable power level? You can't just have a 6-star versus a 2-star in any meta that is higher than that. I want to know. I imagine there will be candidates from like Scarlet Witch in Crit Me or Spider-Man Supreme in a Fate Seal meta. But, you know, if you think you've got something better, send me a screenshot and I'll see. Because that's certainly my PB, and it's bloody difficult to beat that. 53,740. I was outside when I had that match, and I nearly dropped my phone on the pavement because of how just gobsmacked I was. And that just goes to show, I think, my closing thoughts on Juggernaut, because lots of champions exist in this game that are designed to take specific defenders in Battlegrounds with the highest possible score. Like Enchantress, like Spider-Woman was designed to take Enchantress. Onslaught was designed to take a Tuma. For example, Prowler, like Deathless Thanos was designed to take Prowler. And there are other examples like in this video of champions who have theoretical hard counters, and yet Juggernaut just does it better, and he does it more consistently across the board than even the hard counters to some of these champions, like Jack-O-Lantern versus Onslaught. Just Juggernaut does it better. And, you know, a friend of mine put it very well. He said that while those champions are like laser cutters, right? Like Spider-Woman and Jack are like laser cutters. They're very precise, clinical tools designed to do a thing, and it does it well. Juggernaut is just a sledgehammer, right? There's no grace, there's no tact, there's no, you know, delicate precision. It's just hack it to death, and he does it better than anybody. And I am so happy to have him at rank 4, because I imagine I will never stop having fun with this character. He will never fail to put a smile on my face. So, if you have enjoyed, I actually think I added in some fights after saying the first bit, so I think that was 29 fights in this video, nearly an entire Battlegrounds deck. So if you have made it this far, then thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.